Hi everyone. In this movie we will learn how to use a free program called Audacity to record some voiceovers. Then we'll split them up and import them into Flash and use on the timeline for our movies. So let's go ahead over to the Audacity download page, and you will see that it is at this address, audacity.sourceforge.net. You'll find downloads for Mac, Windows, and Linux here, so go ahead and download that for whatever platform you're using and get it running, and when you are ready it should look something like this. This is your basic Audacity window. Sometimes there's a little dialog box that pops up with some information in it, but it should look something like this if you're on the newest version as of the fall of 2013. We're going to start making our recording here in just a second. I've already opened up my script, and we're just going to record a little bit of this because we don't have all that much time. So let's go ahead. I've got my script ready. Remember, as you're recording this, nothing has to be perfect on the first take. You can always go back and cut things out and change things and all that. So I'm not going to worry too much about fumbles and all. If I make a mistake, I'll just go back and record that section again. This is an art of performance that you'll eventually get the hang of if you do it enough. So to begin recording, we use this red button. To stop recording, we use this square button. These could look kind of grayed out to me. I'm not sure why. They look like I can't use them, but you can. So let's go ahead and begin our recording and watch what happens. You will see, hey, there's our waveform beginning to show up. It doesn't quite keep up with me, but that's all right. So let's go ahead and go back to our script and we will start recording. Is bigger better? It's no secret that industrial farming loves chemical fertilizers, and weed killers, and bug killers, and antibiotics, and giant machines to deliver them. Okay, we're going to quit right there. If I was not happy with some part of that performance, then I could go back and change it. But let's go ahead and stop our recording now. I'm going to hit stop right there. And you will see, if we zoom out, using this minus magnifying glass here, this is my entire recording. Okay? Let's go ahead. We're going to set it back to the beginning, and we'll play it here. You will see, hey, there's our waveform beginning to show up. It doesn't quite keep up with me, but that's all right. So let's go ahead and, okay, I would listen to this on headphones if I were you. Sometimes especially if you have somebody else in the house or something, it drives them crazy. But also you can hear what's going on much, much better with a pair of headphones, even if it's a little pair of something from your iDevice or something like that. Okay, so here is our recording. I'm going to put my headphones on here. And the first thing I want to do is start trimming this so that I can get to where I actually began talking or speaking the script. As you work with this, you'll find that this is a lot like Flash in that you have a playhead and a timeline, and you'll see that it's not like Flash in some other ways. So I'm going to center my playhead right there, and we can come in, and I know that my script begins here. This is where I was talking to you. So we can actually use this I-beam cursor here that you see to select. This is all the stuff that I didn't want to include here. However, before I do anything destructive, I want to make sure to save this. So let's go ahead and do that. Alrighty, so you can see that we do work in terms of projects when we're in Audacity. So I'm going to hit Save Project, and you'll get a little dialog box here that tells you about saving a project file. That's .aup, what it ends with, and that we're not actually saving the audio that we can import to Flash yet. Okay, so let's go ahead and save our project, like so. I'm going to save it in this demo current folder that I just keep open, and we will call this demo. And save. Okay, now that I've saved, let's look at a couple of different things you can do to get rid of unwanted audio. If I wanted to keep my audio the exact same length, that is, not cut anything out of the length of this, maybe I've got something that's synced up later on or so, I could actually just come up to this button here and this is silence audio. And I click this, and you'll see that what it did was just removed the waveform. It basically just replaced that audio with silence. Let's undo that. And if I actually want to cut it, which will make my file shorter, I can just come up to this scissors icon and cut like so. So now we're back to our project here, and let's go ahead and put our playhead back at the very beginning using this button here, and play. Is bigger better? It's no secret that industrial farming loves... Okay. As I use this in Flash, I know that I'm going to be doing some syncing with animation. So it's going to work better for me if I have each of these sentences from my original script as a separate piece of audio. Okay, so let's go ahead and start with this first one. I do like to leave my entire recording together, so I'm not going to actually break this up and destroy this thing. Instead, what we're going to do is select small parts of this audio and export out separate files. We're going to select something small, so let's zoom in a little bit, and I believe this was where it began. What I can do is come in with my I-beam cursor and just select this, and if I hit play, is bigger better? Hey, there it is. I can adjust this by simply rolling over the edges. Now you don't want to click in here or else it's going to lose your selection. So instead, I'm going to come over till I see that pointing finger, and when I see the pointing finger, that lets me move this. So what I'm doing is moving this so that my audio comes right at the beginning. Is bigger better? Okay, that's not bad. We could come in here and trim the end here as well. By the way, if you find that you are somebody who is prone to clicking here and losing your selection, there is a way to get around that. Let's go ahead and select this again. Let's say we have something like this. I'm going to purposely select too much. I can come up here and choose Edit, Region, Save. And what this is going to do is save this region that I've selected. Now if I do this again, it's going to overwrite this, but for now, I can do Region, Save. Now I'm going to come out here and just mistakenly click. Ooh, I lost it. Well, what I can do now is come in and choose Edit, Region, Restore, and hey, there's my selection put back. This is just a kind of temporary thing. It's not going to last forever. You can't save every region like this, but for working, it really does help. Okay, so let's take one last listen to this. Is bigger better? Okay. So we want to save this out as a separate audio file. So I'm going to come up to my File menu and choose Export Selection. Not export, that's going to do the whole thing, but just export this selection. And you can see it's taking me to my desktop. Well, that's not really where I want to go. I want to go to Demo Current. That's where I have my project. We'll call this, how about audio _01. You do want to put that leading 0 so it'll sort, especially if you get more than 10 pieces of audio. Now you do have a choice of output formats. AIFF is a good one. If you're on Windows, you might save it as a WAV. I wouldn't suggest MP3 yet because MP3 is going to be compressed and Flash will actually use MP3 compression if we want it to. So I'm going to save out as AIFF, click Save, and you do have an opportunity to enter some metadata. Maybe you want to put your name in here or something like that. That's not too important to me right now because I'm not a musician and I'm not worrying about copyright, so I'm just going to click OK. Okay, now this is what we needed to see in Audacity. Let's go over to Flash now. Let's create a new movie to use to import our audio. So I'm going to hit New, just ActionScript 3.0. And just a plain old white background's okay for us here. We're going to go ahead and click and come into File and choose Import. Now audio we want to import to the library. I'm going to navigate to where we saved that file, which was Demo Current. There's my audio 01. So we will just click Open here. And you will see that now it appears in my library. My sound files are going to have that little speaker icon. Now let's put this into our movie. The way you do this, I would suggest creating a layer and calling it audio. A lot of people like to put this layer at the very top. Some people like to put it at the very bottom. I'm one of those people that likes to put it at the very bottom because I usually put my action script up at the top of the layer stack. So we have our audio. Now audio is placed on keyframes. So I have to select a keyframe, come to the Properties panel, and look for your sound options. And here, all we need to do is go and select our sound from the library. Of course, we've only got one there right now. So we select this, and we don't see much of a change right away. If we were to zoom in here, you would see, hey, there's a little bit of something. And what that actually is that's a display of your waveform. Now, we have some options for audio. And you're going to find that these options should be pretty familiar. We can set the sync to either event or stream. Start and stop are two options, but we don't want to really talk about those just yet. Quick way to remember this is an event sound is going to be like a movie clip. Place an event sound on your timeline and it will play all the way through no matter what that timeline is doing. Okay, so I have one frame on my movie here. So I'm going to test my movie. Actually, let's check to see that, make sure it's set. Yes, it's set as event sync.
Is bigger, better?
And you can see that it played all the way through, even though the playhead was just hitting this one frame. If I were to set it to stream, this is more like a graphic symbol, meaning your sound clip has a one-to-one relationship with this timeline. So for every frame that plays on this timeline, you'll get a frame of audio. If we do that, we don't get anything. Why? Because the playhead isn't moving on this timeline, and just like a graphic symbol, the sound won't play. So let's add a few frames here. Let's maybe add 10. Hit F5. There you can see my waveform a little better. And let's test. Remember, we're on stream sync. Now that's annoying. All it's doing is playing this much of the sound. Another kind of interesting thing is if you scrub your playhead, you'll find that it's just like a graphic symbol. It plays what's on the timeline of that symbol. In this case, though, it plays that little bit of sound for each frame. If you did this with an event sound, you would not hear that. It would be just like a movie clip. You can see that it starts and plays. Just as a rule of thumb, typically you use your event sounds for things like sound effects, things that their beginning is sequenced or timed or synchronized with some kind of action on stage, but it doesn't matter what else happens after them. So if you had like a door closing or something like that. We use streaming sync typically for voiceovers because streaming sync will allow us to listen to what audio is happening right under that frame so that we can synchronize our stuff on stage to it. So let's go ahead and bring this out a little farther. Frame 40, you'll see that that goes well beyond the length of my sound. I'm going to scrub over here just so that you can see it and hear it. Is bigger, better. Okay. Better. So if we were to play this.
Is bigger, better. Is bigger, better. Is bigger, better.
You can see that when my playhead loops, it plays this sound again. Now, what if you wanted to cut this sound off in the middle? Bigger. Let's say we wanted to cut it right here. You can do that by actually adding a blank keyframe here. And that will remove the sound from the rest of this timeline. So now we should only hear a little part of that.
Is bigger. Is bigger. Is bigger. Is bigger.
To restore the entire sound, all we have to do is remove this keyframe by clearing it. Okay, so now.
Is bigger, better. Is bigger, better. Is bigger, better. Is bigger, better.
Stop it. Okay, there is my complete sound there. As you can tell, it doesn't sound so good. It sounds kind of echoey and tinny and just like a crummy MP3, which is what it is. We do need to set our MP3 compression for when we output our Flash movie to be at the best quality that we can afford for that particular file size. The way that we do this is through our Publish settings. You're going to find those settings under the File menu here. We're going to come down to Publish Settings. And our interest is in these two right here, our audio stream and our audio event sounds. Now you'll see that these are both set at 16K mono MP3. Crummy, crummy, crummy. I'm going to deselect that override there. Audio stream we can set by just clicking here. We're going to leave it at MP3. However, we're going to turn our bitrate up to, how about 128? And I'm going to leave convert stereo to mono right here. If you did want to have some stereo sound, Flash can handle that, but we're just doing voiceovers, so it's not really necessary. Now next is the quality setting. This quality setting is not going to affect your final file size. What this is it tells Flash how much time to spend compressing your MP3. If it spends a lot of time, it would be better quality, but it would take longer depending on your computer. So while you're working, leave this at fast. That way, keep in mind that your audio will sound better eventually, but we're doing this fast so we don't have to spend too much time waiting for our test movie to happen. Once you're ready to publish your final output, then change this over to best. And you'll find that if you do this, you will get far better quality from your audio. Let's go ahead and test here. Is bigger better? Is bigger better? Is bigger better? Okay, so you can see that it has improved it vastly. That is how to use Audacity to record your audio and how to bring it into Flash and use your sync settings to choose Stream Sync for voiceovers.